Say, I got love for MySpace, you know what I'm saying? I'm not as fickle as everybody else, man. Once somebody new comes, they just throw them to the side and sit it down. But, I just try to, like I said before, try to go where the audience is. And I try to, for a while it was MySpace, and then it got to the point where so many other rappers were spamming me with so much rap that it just made me be like, look, man, I gotta leave this place, And then for a while I would be blasting my email list, bulletins, blogs and stuff, and then I wouldn't know if there were people on the other side paying attention, so I would do stuff to get their attention. Like, I would say something like, Kobe is greater than Michael Jordan. No picture, I just put that. I don't really believe that, but I would just say that. And then I would get so many responses, and I would be like, okay, there are still a lot of people here when everybody So, when I think about Twitter, it's more about, like, I use Twitter in a you're supposed to talk about your music all the time. I used to have fans getting so mad because I never talked about my music. I would be talking about basketball, I'd talk about everything else because I use that as more of a personal thing so that people can feel like they really know me. There are fans that would ask me the craziest questions, but they don't even have to do with music. And now that I finally started talking about music, things are happening. And for Facebook, it's more of a I want you to know this piece of information, everybody's going to comment on it. And then I started, if you're an admin on your own page, you can look and see the analytics and see if, you're getting more comments per week. So now I care about that. So I'm trying to make better posts so people will comment more, because if I put something that's not really as good, then it'll get not a big response. And I'm like, okay, I got to step it up,
And as I mentioned in the intro, in particular, in the area of ringtones, you were an early adopter. You were definitely out ahead of many people. What was in particular about ringtones, that area of business that appealed to you?
I think it's when I was independent, I used to sell, mixtapes to drive from city to city, physically selling CDs. And then as, the internet started taking off and it started jumping to .coms to .nets to .orgs and just everything, blogs, then I started getting into the major system. And I always had the saying that when you're when you go to college for 4 years, you leave knowing everything, when you go to, almost everything. When you go to the major labels for 4 or 5 years, you leave knowing nothing, But they used to send me analytics, and, I used to see, like, okay, the Cleveland and India and all these places where people were buying, and I was just so interested by that, because before, when you're independent, you can only see what's in front of you, and now they have access to so much that I'm like, I just started getting so interested in that, and I started taking it further than the other artists. Like, I remember Jamster used to do the commercials with the ringtones, and everybody had this typical sheet that they used to run, and I used to be like, I want to do mine different. What else can I add to this to make mine greater? Like, when I did Riding Dirty, I remember they wanted to end the song because they wanted to move on to another single. I made like an international version, a New Zealand version. I just kept making the song bigger and bigger because I wanted those digital downloads to go up. So, I just pay attention to analytics. Most people in my world don't even know what that means.
And they